Have you ever felt completely in charge of your life? That your decisions are your own, your path is laid out by your will. It's a comforting notion, this idea of being the captain of our own ship, the master of our destiny. Yet, beneath this surface of self-determination lies a far more complex and perhaps unsettling truth. One that philosophers have grappled with for millennia. What if this feeling of control, this conviction of conscious command, is largely an illusion? While our everyday experience reinforces the idea of agency, a deeper examination reveals the myriad forces, both internal and external, that subtly and not so subtly shape our thoughts, desires, and actions. We believe we are steering the ship, but are we truly at the helm, or merely passengers, caught in currents far stronger than our individual will? In this video, we're going to explore the profound and often counterintuitive idea of the illusion of control. We'll delve into 7 key philosophical perspectives and psychological insights that challenge our deeply ingrained belief in absolute autonomy. These aren't meant to disempower us, but to offer a more nuanced and ultimately more liberating understanding of our place in the grand scheme of things. So, whether you're someone who feels firmly in control or someone who suspects deeper forces at play, the next 40 minutes might just shift your perception of your own agency and the very nature of your choices. Stick around until the end, because the final perspective might be the most challenging, the one that truly unravels the threads of our perceived mastery. Now, let's embark on this exploration. Perspective 1. The unconscious architect of desire. Long before we consciously formulate a want or a need, powerful forces within our unconscious mind are already at work, shaping our inclinations and directing our attention. Think of the seemingly spontaneous desires that arise within you, a craving for a certain food, an attraction to a particular person, a sudden urge to pursue a specific goal. Where do these impulses truly originate? While we might attribute them to conscious reasoning or deliberate choice, psychoanalytic thinkers, following in the footsteps of figures like Sigmund Freud, suggest that these surface desires are often manifestations of deeper, unconscious drives and unresolved conflicts. These hidden currents, formed by early experiences, repressed emotions, and primal instincts, exert a powerful influence on our conscious choices, often without our direct awareness. The feeling of wanting something intensely can feel like a conscious decision, but it might be the carefully constructed outcome of unconscious processes we barely glimpse. Our conscious mind then steps in, often pulls hot, to rationalize and justify these pre-existing inclinations, reinforcing the illusion that the desire originated with our deliberate will. Consider the person who feels a strong urge to accumulate wealth. While they might consciously articulate reasons for this desire, security, comfort, status, a deeper psychological exploration might reveal unconscious anxieties about inadequacy or a primal drive for dominance, rooted in early life experiences. The conscious pursuit of wealth then becomes a seemingly rational act driven by forces operating far beneath the surface of awareness. This isn't to say that conscious thought plays no role, but rather to highlight the powerful, often invisible, architecture of desire that the unconscious constructs long before our conscious mind gets involved. The feeling of control over what we want might be a carefully crafted narrative built upon a foundation of unconscious imperatives. Perspective 2. The societal script and the illusion of individual choice. We like to think of our choices as uniquely our own, born from individual deliberation and personal values. However, the reality is that we are deeply embedded within a complex web of societal norms, cultural expectations, and historical forces that profoundly shape the very fabric of our desires and possibilities. From the language we speak to the values we hold dear, from the career paths we consider acceptable to the lifestyles we aspire to, our choices are often framed and constrained by the societal scripts we inherit. We might feel we are freely choosing a certain career, but is that choice truly independent of the societal value placed upon that profession, the educational structures that guide us towards it, and the narratives of success that our culture promotes? Our sense of self and our understanding of what constitutes a good life are largely constructed through social interaction and cultural transmission. We internalize these external frameworks so deeply that they often feel like our own authentic desires. further reinforcing the illusion of complete individual control. Consider the pervasive influence of advertising. While we might consciously believe we are immune to its effects, marketing campaigns are carefully designed to tap into our underlying needs and aspirations, subtly shaping our desires and influencing our purchasing decisions. We feel we are choosing a product based on its merits, but our choice might be heavily influenced by carefully crafted narratives about status, belonging, or happiness. The feeling of making an independent choice can be powerful, but it's crucial to recognize the invisible hand of societal influence that often guides our preferences and limits the scope of our perceived options. The ship of our individual will is often sailing within the well-defined currents of cultural norms. Perspective 3. The biological imperative and the constraints of our nature. We often pride ourselves on our rationality and our ability to transcend our base instincts. Yet, beneath the veneer of conscious deliberation lies a powerful biological imperative, a fundamental drive for survival and reproduction that profoundly influences our behavior and choices. Evolutionary psychology suggests that many of our seemingly conscious preferences and tendencies are, in fact, deeply rooted in our biological inheritance, shaped by millennia of natural selection. Our innate desires for food, safety, social connection, and procreation are not simply conscious choices. They are fundamental drives that have ensured our species' survival. While our conscious mind can override these instincts in certain situations, they exert a constant, often unconscious, pressure on our motivations and decisions. Our free will operates within the constraints of our biological nature, a framework that has been forged over vast stretches of time. Consider the powerful drive for social belonging. While we might consciously choose our friends and romantic partners, the underlying need for connection and acceptance is a deep-seated biological imperative that influences our social behavior and our susceptibility to social influence. The feeling of choosing our social circles might be intertwined with a more fundamental biological need for affiliation. Our conscious choices, while seemingly autonomous, are often navigating the powerful currents of our biological programming. The ship of our will is built upon the foundations of our evolutionary inheritance. Perspective 4. The randomness of chance and the unpredictability of life. Despite our best efforts to plan, control, and predict, life is inherently unpredictable. Chance encounters, unforeseen events, and the butterfly effect can dramatically alter the course of our lives in ways that are entirely beyond our individual control. We might meticulously plan our careers, our relationships, and our futures. Yet a sudden economic downturn, a chance meeting, or an unexpected illness can derail even the most carefully laid plans. The feeling of being in control can be shattered by the sheer randomness of existence. Philosophical perspectives, like existentialism, emphasize the contingency of life, the fact that we are thrown into a world not of our making, facing circumstances that are often arbitrary and beyond our influence. Our attempts to impose order and control on a fundamentally chaotic universe are often met with the humbling reality of chance. Consider the experience of winning the lottery or being involved in an unexpected accident. These events, entirely outside of our individual control, can have profound and lasting impacts on our lives, regardless of our prior plans or intentions. The feeling of being in control can suddenly evaporate in the face of pure chance. Our attempts to steer the ship of our lives are often navigating unpredictable waters, subject to the whims of fortune and the unforeseen storms of existence. Perspective 5. The neurological substrate of this. Modern neuroscience is increasingly revealing the complex neurological processes that underlie our decisions. Studies suggest that the neural activity associated with the decision often precedes our conscious awareness of having made that choice. Experiments have shown that brain scans can detect the initiation of a motor action or a choice several hundred milliseconds before the individual consciously reports the intention to act. This raises profound questions about the nature of free will and the extent to which our conscious mind is truly the initiator of our actions. Perhaps our conscious awareness is more of an observer or a narrator of decisions that are initiated by unconscious neural processes. The feeling of consciously choosing might be a post hoc interpretation of neurological events that have already unfolded. Consider the experience of making a quick, instinctive decision, While we might feel we consciously weighed the options in that split second, it's more likely that unconscious neural pathways, shaped by past experiences and ingrained biases, rapidly processed the information and initiated a response before our conscious mind fully registered the choice. Our feeling of being the conscious author of our decisions might be a compelling narrative constructed by our brains, even if the underlying processes are far more automatic and unconscious than we typically perceive. The ship of our will might be steered by neurological mechanisms operating largely outside our conscious awareness. Perspective 6. The power of external manipulation and subtle influence. Our choices are not made in a vacuum. We are constantly bombarded by subtle and not so subtle forms of external influence. From the carefully crafted narratives of political campaigns to the persuasive techniques of everyday interactions. While we might believe we are making rational decisions based on objective information, our judgments and choices can be significantly swayed by framing effects, cognitive biases, and the power of suggestion. These external forces can subtly manipulate our perceptions and steer us towards choices that we believe are our own. Consider the art of rhetoric. Skilled communicators can frame arguments and present information in ways that subtly influence our opinions and beliefs, often without our conscious awareness of being persuaded. We feel we have arrived at our own conclusions, but our reasoning might have been subtly guided by external forces. The feeling of making an independent choice can be undermined by the recognition of how easily our perceptions and judgments can be influenced by external factors. The ship of our will is often navigating waters filled with currents of persuasion. Perspective 7. The illusion of the unified self and the fragmented nature of consciousness. Perhaps the most fundamental challenge to the illusion of control lies in the very nature of ourself. We tend to experience ourselves as a unified, coherent entity with a consistent will and set of desires. However, many philosophical and psychological perspectives suggest that our consciousness is far more fragmented and fluid than we typically perceive. Our thoughts, emotions, and motivations are constantly shifting, influenced by a multitude of internal factors, from hormonal fluctuations to fleeting memories. The I that makes a decision in one moment might feel quite different from the I that experiences the consequences later. If the very self that we believe is in control is not a stable, unified entity, then the notion of a consistent, autonomous will become even more problematic. Our choices might be the result of temporary constellations of internal states, rather than the deliberate actions of a fixed and independent agent. Consider the experience of inner conflict. We often find ourselves pulled in different directions by competing desires or conflicting values. This internal struggle highlights the fragmented nature of our motivations and challenges, the idea of a single, unified will in complete control. The feeling of a consistent self steering the ship of our lives might be a compelling narrative that our minds construct to create a sense of coherence in a fundamentally fluid and multifaceted experience. Host. So, as we navigate the complexities of our inner and outer worlds, the question of control remains a profound and enduring philosophical puzzle. While our lived experience strongly suggests that we are the authors of our choices, a deeper examination reveals the powerful interplay of unconscious desires, societal influences, biological imperatives, the randomness of chance, neurological processes, external manipulations, and the very fluid nature of ourself. Perhaps the true wisdom lies not in clinging to the illusion of absolute control, but in recognizing the multitude of forces that shape our lives. This isn't about succumbing to fatalism, but about cultivating a more nuanced understanding of our agency, our limitations, and our interconnectedness with the world around us. What perspective on the illusion of control resonated most deeply with you? Do you find comfort or unease in the idea that our conscious command might be less absolute than we believe? Share your reflections in the comments below. Your insights contribute to this ongoing philosophical exploration. If this journey into the nature of control sparked your curiosity, please like this video. Subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the fundamental questions of existence, and share it with someone who might be pondering their own sense of agency. Your engagement fuels these intellectual voyages. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the illusion of control. May you navigate the currents of life with greater awareness, and a deeper understanding of the forces at play. Until our next philosophical inquiry.